What's going on? My name is Francis, and if you're new to this channel, consider hitting that subscribe button and that notification bell because I post a video every single day. Check out the website that's in the description box of this video because I do powerful one-on-one sessions. What we're going to be talking about in this video is how to access a deeper dimension to who you are that transcends the conditioning of your mind. Okay, so what does this mean? It means that a lot of us have a false sense of self that is dependent on the external forms that are going on the outside. And a lot of the times that form happens to be attached to the thinking. A lot of our awareness and our focus and concentration is very attached to the thinking without realizing it. And so a lot of times we're very consumed by all the things that happen in life. We're so consumed by all of these things happening that are always changing, right? Because life always changes, right? Things are always changing. That's just the reality of life. The reality of life is that things are always changing. You know, thoughts change, emotions change, the feelings in your body is always changing. To be a little bit more general, your relationships are always going to change. Your job is always going to change. And so the forms are always going to change in life, right? Things on the outside, even on the inside, like your thoughts and your feelings are always changing. And so, what I'm going to be talking about in this video is how to access a deeper dimension of who you are that transcends all the things that are changing in your life, that transcend pain and pleasure, because sometimes we're going to have pain, sometimes we're going to have pleasure. That's the reality of life. And if you develop yourself as a human being, do things like meditation, then for sure you can definitely get closer to feelings of pleasure and live a better lifestyle. If you take care of your hygiene, you do some meditation, if you go to the gym, like you can get closer to living a pleasurable lifestyle. And so that's amazing. That's part of life. Nothing wrong with that. Always good to live a life of more pleasure. But then the reality is that there's a deeper sense of who you are that can transcend all of this, right? And so regardless of what happens in your life, if you access this deeper dimension to who you are, and I'm really just using the word dimension, it's just a word to represent something that we can't necessarily explain using words, because that's still part of the outer forms that are happening in reality. And so this video is going to go really deep, because what I'm pointing you to in this video is a truth that can never be grasped on the level of the thinking or even in your experience. And so to a certain extent, you can experience it, but what we're pointing to here is the deeper dimension of who you are that goes behind the experience. And I'm just saying behind, where what I'm saying when I say behind is almost like there's always these things happening on the outside, right? There's all these things, but then there's like this current, there's this conscious awareness, there's this presence, there's this sense of peace that is always happening in the background. So I think background is another word that will help you to further understand what is that I'm pointing you to, because behind sometimes can be a little bit confusing, but think about it like this. There's all these things happening, on the outer part of reality. There's all these, forms that are changing. There's thoughts that are always changing. There's feelings that are always changing. Your relationships always change. But then there's this thing in the background that never changes, which is the present moment. The present moment never changes. But when I say the present moment, what I'm actually pointing you to is that sense of awareness, that sense of I exist, that sense of I'm here right now, without actually verbalizing to yourself, I am here right now. Because you can say to yourself like, yeah, I'm here right now, which is a thought form in your head. You can even feel that your body exists right now. Like how do you feel what's that thing that can actually feel your body? And what is that thing that allows you to feel your body? It's the awareness. It's the consciousness that is always happening in the background. And so you can become aware of the sensation of your breathing right now as a quick little exercise. Become aware of the sensation of your breathing and notice how there's not just the sensation of your breathing, but then there's the awareness of that breathing, right? There's that underlying awareness that's happening in the background. So not only are you aware of your breathing, which you don't have to control, by the way, no need to control your breathing, just simply become aware. When you begin to notice this awareness that's happening in the background of the breathing, not just the breathing that's happening, that up and down currents, just always going up and down, but also the awareness, the consciousness that has the ability to actually perceive the breath, right? What is that thing? What is that thing that has the ability to be aware of the sensation of breathing? Okay, that thing that I'm gonna call awareness for this video, which is another word that is not actually it. It's just a word. We're gonna call it awareness. You know, that's the true essence of who you are. Okay, that's the true essence of who you are. This is what all spiritual enlightenment essentially is pointing to. It's all spiritual teachings. Eckhart Tolle teaches this. There's a lot of Eastern philosophy that tries to point people to this truth, but a lot of people don't fully understand it and they can't grasp it, because this is not something to grasp. This is something to, experience through, direct experience. You can't think about this. If you're gonna try to sit here and try to think about what I'm telling you, it's not gonna work. It might sound like a foreign concept to you. It might sound like an interesting idea, like, well, this guy's crazy, or that's an interesting idea. I don't really know what he's talking about, but maybe, to a deeper level, I kind of do understand what he's saying, but I don't fully quite understand. It's because you can't understand this on thinking, okay? Thinking about this is not gonna be the way. You wanna go within, as cliche as that sounds. You wanna bring your consciousness and awareness rather than being unconsciously absorbed in the thinking, which is where most people's awareness is. A lot of people's attention is in the thinking without realizing it. What you can begin to do is actually, take that attention away from the thinking and keep it on the breath. And stay there, stay on a sensation, stay on the feeling. But then the most important thing here is not just to notice the sensation of your breathing, but then to notice the awareness that's happening in the background. So this is really advanced teaching. What I'm teaching here is not simple. If you want to go a little bit more simple, check out my video on how to meditate, because that's just a beginner's guide on how to, clear the thinking, how to clear the mind. What I'm teaching you here is the deeper essence of who you are that transcends all form in reality. Okay, Buddhism calls it the formless, which is interesting because, when you say something like formless, which I actually got this idea from an Eckhart Tolle seminar or a lecture that I was watching. It's interesting, word to use the word formless, because formless implies that it's something that's not form. It's not a thought. It's not an emotion. It's not a feeling. It's not an object. It's not like something on the outside. It has nothing to do with anything that you can experience in this reality. And so it might sound paradoxical. So wait a second, isn't the only thing that we can experience is experiencing reality? And so yes, to a certain extent that's true. But then what is that thing that has the ability to experience, right? Because it's not your thoughts. Your thoughts aren't experiencing life. Your thoughts are one part of who you think you are. Keyword, who you think you are, because most people believe that they are their thoughts, not realizing that there's a deeper dimension to who you are. What has that ability to observe your thinking? Because you can actually observe your thoughts. You don't have to be completely absorbed into the thoughts. You can simply watch them. And so what is that thing that has the ability to watch the thoughts? Right? This is what all spiritual teachings are actually pointing us to. And so this is something that goes a lot deeper than just thought forms and experience and things that are happening on the outside. This is something that can never be grasped. And the more that you try to grasp this, the harder it's going to be. So the key here is to do something like meditation, where you can actually get an experience of this and to have an insight and have the realization that, well, wait a second, there's all these things happening on the outside, right? All these forms changing, but then what's the one thing that never changes? What's the one thing that never changes? Since the beginning of time, since the day you were born, there's one thing that never changes, right? And so that's the awareness of the moment. Not the moment, because the moment's always changing. And it's very peaceful to enter the moment, very peaceful. But then a deeper sense of peace is to notice the awareness that is, the underlying sense of peace that is always happening in the background of whatever life circumstance is going on the outside. So regardless of what happens in your life, you're always going to have access to this peace as long as you find the true essence of who you are. And meditation is a great way to do this. So this goes really, really deep. If you want to go a little bit deeper into this, I'd be more than happy to connect with you. Consider checking out the website that's in the description box of this video, because I do powerful one-on-one sessions. So that's all I have for you today. If you like this kind of content, then consider hitting that subscribe button and that notification bell, because I post a video every single day. Have yourself a great day and see you in the next video.